Today we're continuing this series, Words of Life, and as I think about that today, I think about gardening and the tough work of gardening. I don't know if any of you are a gardener, if you've ever, planted some plants or you planted some shrubs. I think a lot of people when we do gardening or landscaping, we want low maintenance, right? That's kind of what we all strive for, something that you don't have to do a whole lot with. But maybe you've planted something and then you've just ignored it. And if you just ignore a garden, if you just ignore your landscaping, you know what happens is if you wait long enough, you'll come back and you'll find your lovely garden just completely overrun with weeds. Lots and lots of weeds. They will be everywhere throughout your garden. And if you ignore those weeds long enough, you'll find that it's impossible to recover your garden. You just need to take everything out and start all over again. The weeds have completely choked out all the good plants that you have. Now, a healthy, thriving garden, it's going to require that you do some maintenance. I think we can even see that here around Woldemar where we are. It's a lot of work to maintain this nature center. Nature is constantly growing and weeds are cropping up in different areas. And while I have to admit, I'm a little obsessed with this. So if you go to my yard, you have to hunt hard to find weeds because I love to stay on top of those weeds. I've never had a garden get overgrown on my watch. It doesn't happen. But this idea, I think, of gardening, it's really a great metaphor, not just for what we do in the soil, but for our souls. And this resonates with me personally because it's a metaphor, I think, for what's going on in my head and what's going on in my life. And sometimes there's so many things going on in my life. There's so many plates that I have spinning up in the air that I don't have the time to do the work to tend to the garden of my soul. I don't tend to my soul, and I don't pull weeds. I don't care for the plants that are my soul. Now, in preparing this message, I looked at my schedule, and my schedule has opened up a little bit over the summer. I don't have youth group on Sunday nights. Usually I would have Teen Fuel on Sunday nights, but quite often in order to make vacations work, like my family and I, we just got back on Saturday from a vacation, I'll have something church-related on Monday night, on Tuesday night, on Wednesday night, on Thursday night, and I'll be honest, when I'm that busy, I really don't have a lot of time to just sit with my wife, Jana. I don't have a whole lot of time to just be with my family. It's go, 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 from one thing to the next, one meeting to the next, one task to the next, getting stuff done from morning to evening. Now, do you think my family likes it when I'm that busy? No. My kids are shaking their heads. No, they don't. Jana is very clear on this. No, she doesn't like it either. Do you think that the garden of my soul is well cared for when I'm that busy? No, it's absolutely not. Now, pastors aren't the only people who struggle with this, who struggle with busyness and who have a lot going on. The Gallup group, they did a survey of 7,500 full-time employees in 2018, and they asked these employees if they ever wrestled with burnout. And they found that 23% of full-time employees felt burned out very often or always. Very often or always. Another 44% were burned out some of the time. That's a whopping 67% of full-time employees who are wrestling with burnout. And that's just at work, and that's before the pandemic. That's 2018. That's 4 years ago. I imagine if we repeated this right now, it would be even higher. Even higher. People are wrestling with being tired. This is us. This is our children. This is our grandchildren. This is a pandemic that it's affecting all of our country. We are burned out. We're tired. We're busy. We're overwhelmed. Now, why are people wrestling with this, with being burned out? Well, there's so much work to be done, unmanageable workloads. There's constant conflict. There's fear. There's anger present in our country. There's unreasonable time pressure. Got to get stuff done. Got to get it done now. Got to get it done now. There's an ongoing strain of the pandemic and of navigating health and health issues. People are simply tired physically and emotionally. We're spent. I came across an article in the New York Times by Brene Brown. She's a researcher, she's a podcaster, she's a New York Times best-selling author. She wrote about burnout saying, here's a quote I once heard from a priest. If you don't want to burn out, stop living like you're on fire. Stop living like you're on fire. Brene Brown says about this, she says, when burnout creeps up on me, I don't like the person that I become. When burnout creeps up on me, I don't like the person I become. When we are burned out, when we're emotionally spent, when we're exhausted, when we feel like we don't have enough hours in the day to get everything done, or when it seems like we just can't get it all done, there's too much to do, everything suffers in our lives. Our physical health suffers. Our relationships suffer. We are, as Brene Brown says, no longer the person we want to be. This is true in our marriages. This is true in our parenting. This is true in our work with other people. This is true in our school work, kids. This is true in our relationship with God. We need to stop living like we are on fire. And that brings us to our first question for discussion this morning. It's where have you seen the cost of being too busy, either in your own life or in the lives of those around you? I'm going to give you 90 seconds to turn to someone near you and to discuss this cost of being busy. If you're online, you can put your comments in the chat section. Let's take 90 seconds and discuss this question.